When your company faces insolvency, worrying about how you pay staff's wages and their redundancy entitlement is perfectly normal. It shows that you care. Employee rights during insolvency can be quite hard to understand, and it can leave your team in the dark at a time where communication is key. Now, if you don't follow the right steps, it can ruin your reputation. It's going to cause your team even more stress and potentially leaving you facing legal action. Now, I will tell you about a story I hear time and time again where a company is going to go through a pre-pack, whether it's a pre-pack liquidation or a pre-pack administration. And what they have is a team of staff members, and they decide to restructure their staff. And one particular example where there was 10 staff, and the director decided to keep 5 staff and transfer them over to the new company. The 5 staff that were made redundant then went on to file unfair dismissal claims to the new company. It's a problem that you need to avoid. And in this video, I'm going to guide you through everything you need to know about employee rights during insolvency, from redundancy pay to communicating effectively with the team. Stay with me to the end, because the information that I've got, it won't only protect your employees, but it can also safeguard your role as a director, okay? It's Chris Worden, I'm from Director First, and I've worked with thousands of UK directors facing the complex challenges of insolvency. Today, we're focusing on one of the most critical aspects of the process, your employees. Now, when a company goes into insolvency, the employee is among the most effective. And what most directors don't realise is that how they actually handle employees' rights can be the difference between a smooth resolution and a serious legal trouble. And it's not just about doing the legal minimal, it's about doing what's right for your team while protecting your reputation and staying compliant. Now, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover the basics of employee rights during insolvency, how redundancy payments and outstanding wages are handled, the role of the redundancy payment service and how it ensures employees are paid, and how to effectively communicate with your employees during this challenging time. Now, let's start by breaking down the fundamentals of employee rights. Now, when you're understanding your employees' rights during insolvency, you've got to know your obligations, because employees retain their rights even when a company becomes insolvent. These rights are protected under UK employment law, specifically the Employment Rights Act 1996. And it's your responsibility as a director to ensure that they are properly addressed. Now, first thing we need to talk about is statutory redundancy pay. So employees are entitled to redundancy pay based on their age, their weekly wage, capped at £640 per week as of 2024, how many years in service. And here's the formula. They get half a week's pay for each year worked if they're under 22. They get 1 week's pay for each year worked aged 22 to 41. And they get 1.5 weeks pay for each year worked aged 41 or over. So typical an example of an employee aged 45 with 10 years of service, and they get 500 quid a week. They get 7 grand in redundancy pay, okay? They can also claim for outstanding wages and holiday pay. They can claim up to 8 weeks of unpaid wages and any accrued but unused holiday pay. So an example, if an employee earning 600 quid a week has 10 unused holiday days, they can claim an additional £1,200. Now, there's also something called notice pay. And employees that are dismissed due to insolvency are entitled to statutory notice pay. And that's generally 1 week for every year of service, up to 12 weeks. Most companies won't be able to afford to pay notice paying the wages, so the employees can claim through the RPS, which brings me on to what is the RPS. It's called the Redundancy Payments Service. Now, their role is essentially, if your company can't afford to pay redundancy, unpaid wages, holiday pay, notice pay, that's where the RPS comes in, okay? And they will cover statutory redundancy pay. Obviously, it follows the same full formula discussed earlier. It's 643 quid a week for outstanding wages. You can get up to 8 weeks of unpaid wages with a statutory cap, Holiday, it covers all accrued but unused holidays. And remember, notice pay, employees can claim notice pay for the statutory notice period. Now, the way that the RPS works, the process, right? Your insolvency practitioner gathers information about employees. They're going to want to know employment records, outstanding wages, holiday pay, what redundancy entitlements. And the IP provides employees with something called an RP1 form to submit the claims online. Now, they only can give you the RP1 form when the company goes into liquidation on the day of the creditors meeting. Now, that's going to be generally at least 21 days before you sign your notice paper. You sign your notices, 21 days later is the creditors meeting, and that's when staff can actually make the claim for redundancy. And typically, the RPS processes payments within 6 weeks, and they deposit the funds directly into the employees' bank accounts, okay? Now, the RPS will ensure employees receive their entitlement even if the company has no money left. So as a director, your role is to ensure the insolvency practitioner has accurate employee records and that the employees understand the claims process. Now, that brings me on to my next point, communicating with the employees. Listen, it's a really tough time this for everyone involved, and handling the actual insolvency is challenging. You've got to be clear, be empathetic, communicate with the employees. Genuinely, it makes all the difference. And this is sort of my tips on how to approach this task. First thing is, notify them when the insolvency practitioner tells you so. So as soon as the insolvency process begins, you inform the employees about this situation. And an example talking point would be, I've engaged with an insolvency practitioner to sort of assess the company's position. We know it's a difficult time. We're committed to ensuring you receive the support and information you need, and perhaps hold a group meeting. And you can explain the situation. You can outline the next steps. Things that they want to hear is like, cover key points, redundancy pay, outstanding wages, tell them about the RPS. Generally speaking, if you're with us, we'll have somebody help you have that meeting, or invite one of the insolvency practitioners' teams to answer any technical guidance, and perhaps give them some written guidance. It might be ideal to distribute some frequently asked questions or guidance on how they can submit the claims through the RPS, okay? So here we allocate you a case manager to help your team and give them sort of a point of contact. Now, we've covered a lot today, okay? Employees' rights during insolvency, redundancy pay, outstanding wages, notice pay. There's a lot to go through, but the importance of clear communication with your team cannot be stressed too much. If you follow the steps, you can handle this with integrity. You know, protect your employees, but try and maintain your reputation as someone who's responsible. If you've enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, ask a question, I'll answer it personally. But remember, there's always a solution, and we're here to help you find it. Please watch my next video. I know you're going to like it. It's going to be in the screen just about here. Thank you.